That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it gets harder and harder to resist.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hardcore Horror with Brigitte. My name is Brigitte, and I'm by myself because I killed Michael. Hello, how are you? Oh, wait, that's not right, is it? My name must be Mike. And
oh, God, that was a good impression of me.
That's not right. Tonight we'll be doing a seance by myself. What's going on over there, Bridget?
Oh my God, I fell off my chair. Oh, it sounded like me. Did you flip your hair?
I was totally flipping the hair right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Episode 50. All right.
50. Holy moly. That is so crazy. Wow.
It's a milestone.
Yeah, it's a milestone. I'm so grateful that people like to listen to us.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. It's been really great, though. I mean, God, we've had so many great people on here, and God, we still love it. This is what I look forward to on weekends, and keep on trucking.
For those that like horror and talk the talk, that's what we do.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So let's start off with a few things. So since the last podcast, there was a little convention in Nashville.
Yeah.
The Tattoo and the Lone Wolf Tattoo and Horror Fest. Tell us a little bit about that. How was that for you?
It's Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Festival. It was in Nashville this past weekend. This is the second year that I've been a vendor, Three-Legged Circus Oddities. What an amazing event. Holy shit. I know I saw you briefly for just a hot minute.
Yeah, I was there. This is my first time going back. I know at least over, man, I don't know, maybe 15 years or more.
Really? I did not realize that.
Yeah. It's actually, I think so. It's been a while. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm. It was good. It was good getting you out. Yay.
Yeah. I didn't stay as long as I would have, but I did make the rounds a couple times. So I got to see a few people that I'd never met before that I talked to and everything. And, I saw the Tennessee horror guys and some other people that I, talked to, but never saw in person. So
I know. It was like a big thing. You were almost like a celebrity because I was talking to a lot of people and they're like, I was like, yeah, Mike will be here a little bit later. And they're like, oh my God, I've never even met him in person. I've talked to him and listened to him a million times. So a lot of people were looking forward to seeing you. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Saw George Dimmick and of course, Michael Tanner Flynn. Saw him again. He was there. Yeah, he had a booth. So you had a pretty good time. It's probably the biggest festival in Tennessee for horror. Would you say?
I would think so. Yeah. Just because I've worked so many different conventions and in Tennessee, horror conventions, and now there is a new one coming up. So there's Nashville Horror Con, which is this first year they're having it.
Right.
It's the same people that puts on the Evansville Horror Con. It's a 2-day event. It's at it'll be at the Tennessee Fairgrounds, Nashville, sometime in July. So we'll see how that one goes. They do have a celebrity list, so they've got a few names out there already. So, of course, it doesn't have the tattoo part. There's not. There are a few other conventions out there that's horror and tattoo. There's not many of them, so that is one really cool thing. It just brings a whole nother group of people. And another thing that I like about Full Moon is that it's on Easter weekend. I know that sounds really bad, but people come to this hotel because they do this like brunch thing or whatever. So you would not believe on Sunday how many people come out in like their Easter church clothes, and they're like, oh, what's going on over here? And they'll come to horror tonight from me.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool. I would say, though, it's really got a following and gained a following over the years because it's been there for so long, over 20 years, right? So it's really, I think people just keep coming back and back every year because it's just kind of a thing that they do that, this is like the one big con for them. They might go to some of the other ones sometimes, maybe check them out. But I think this is like the one that a lot of people, this will be their one destination con for the year for sure, right?
Yeah, and I didn't realize being a vendor, I talked to a lot of people coming in, and what I didn't realize is that there's people come from all over the United States to this convention in
which
Nashville.
is kind of crazy when you think
It
about it.
kind of is, yeah, because there's so many other ones out there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It seems like every state has like their own multitudes of conventions, so it is kind of strange. So maybe they're just coming to see a certain
See,
celebrity
maybe
or
so.
whatever. But
That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe they're a big fan of someone in particular. There's Ice Nine Kills. I believe Spencer is his name, but I'd never even heard of him before. His
I
fan
played one of
base.
his tracks for us back when I used to do Macabre Melodies. I played one of their tracks
Oh,
for
you
us.
did? I don't even
Hmm.
remember that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
oh my God, his fans are serious. Um, Saturday, the lawn was wrapped all the way around. They're like, if you're here to see Spencer, blah blah blah. I'm like, who the hell is Spencer? you know, and
Yeah.
some of his fans, more than one, actually more than three that I can think of, came over to our table and they're like, "Oh my God, Spencer, blah 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 blah," and they're all showing like making me watch his like music videos while I'm trying to work and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, they're pretty cool videos and of what they do. But I think it's probably because he doesn't probably do a lot of cons. That's what I'm thinking. There's that, and there's also like when celebrities get aging a little bit. I think a lot of times people want to go and get their autograph before they, sadly pass away. I saw a pretty good line for Tom Adkins over there Saturday. So, I think that certain people do draw attention because of either A, they don't do it a lot, or B, they're getting older.
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
But it
I
was good.
didn't,
It was
I
good.
didn't,
It was
I didn't get to
well.
talk to Tom Atkins, but he's so funny. He's like kind of old and grumpy. Like he'd walk by and just kind of
Yeah, that's funny. No, no,
funny.
I didn't stop at the table either because there was a line. But no, it was really cool. You sold a few of my stuff, my films there, and you sold a bunch of stuff of yours, and I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
And
We did great in our sales, and I will tell you, every single one of your movies sold, every single one of them, and there was
which
even
is
crazy. Is that crazy?
no, well, that's not crazy necessarily. It's just telling that you have to have the right
Yeah,
con. You got to have the right con. I mean, I feel like for me, FrankenCon's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's just not as busy. It's not nowhere near as busy as a horror festival. But they're more movie minded over there than say like CreepyCon and stuff. CreepyCon's cool in its own right, and they're actually making it more. I think movie friendly now, but it just wasn't really that scene, especially when we were there the first time. And and there's definitely cons and little festivals and stuff that aren't catered toward that sort of thing, and you can go there and maybe not do very well. But yeah, if you get the right crowd, the right people that are looking for what you're selling, then yeah, you can do pretty good.
Yeah, and I will tell you this: you're gonna be like, "Oh no!" So there's I was talking to this guy, and he bought a couple movies, and he goes, I've got to go hit the ATM, whatever." And I didn't see him like for a good hour, and guess what? I sold your movies, all of them. And then he'd come back over there. I was like, I haven't seen you in an hour. I thought you were coming back. I was like, I sold them to somebody else. He was like, oh, damn it. But I was like, hey, come hit us up. And I gave him your website and your cards. So
cool.
have some new buys there. But I was talking to him. It was really cool. So many people I talked to, kind of the same thing. They would say, this guy in particular, I hate Hollywood horror films. He's like, I am all about the independent, low budget horror movies. And I was like, that is so great. And I told him to go and listen to our podcast, of course. But I mean, it's really great. And you have a lot of those people that are really into the indie horror.
Yeah. And some people just don't like to stream, and they like to collect and stuff, and so they go to those festivals to find things that they normally can't find, just like going to a Walmart or something. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hayden, I got to see Hayden there before I forget.
Me too. Yeah, I saw him. Mm-hmm.
So cool. Yeah. So really, really great time. Full moon. Love it.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Moving on. So, I'll tell you, I bought something I haven't bought in over 20 years.
Oh, okay.
Recently. Do you know? Do you have any idea what it is?
You haven't bought it in over 20 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say cocaine, but I was like, that was not a very good joke.
And I'm wired tonight.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm on the podcast. Sounds like me. I'm just kidding.
Let me tell you about everything tonight. Oh, here we go, boys. No, no, that's not it. Good guess, though. That's a good guess. Not it. No, for the first time in over 20 years, I bought a VHS tape.
So that was my first thought, and I was like, surely he's had like more VHS. Surely he's bought a VHS tape.
No, I don't think so. No,
Okay.
no, because I mean, I'm not a hipster to VHS. It's definitely a inferior format. It doesn't look good. I don't have that nostalgia of keeping it. I mean, I do have some. There's some that I have, but I sold off quite a bit of that collection, and so yeah. And it's funny because this is actually a movie that I had before, and we talked about this before. But so Scream, I own Scream. I own it on DVD and Blu-ray and 4K and digital and all these places, right?
Mm-hmm.
I own it a lot, but everyone that I own does not have the quote unquote director's cut of the movie.
Okay.
And yeah, and funny enough, I actually used to have the VHS tape and I sold it way back in the day, but I remembered that it was a little gorier. It showed a little bit more gore and stuff. And so I did some digging around, some researching, trying to find a high quality one. I've heard talk of some overseas ones that are the director's cut, but I can't really get a clear, definite on which one's actually it and which ones they say they're uncut, but it's really just the regular cut, just because of their own country's rating system.
Mm-hmm. So
I found out that in the U.S., the only place you can get the director's cut is VHS or Laserdisc. I was never a Laserdisc guy, so I thought, well, I'll just get the VHS tape, I guess. And so I got it. It's kind of funny because it's actually even certain ones too. If you get the one that's just got the regular cover with all the faces on it, that one's not the director's cut. It has to be the three different ones with Drew, Courtney Cox, and Neve Campbell's face on them.
okay.
Like, those are the only ones that have the director's cut. So I got one, and so I watched it, and it's funny because yes, it does. And so you know how when it shows the gore on the boyfriend in the beginning with Drew Barrymore,
Yeah.
it shows it a little bit. Well, it shows it more on this one. It shows the gore rolling off of him, and when it cuts to her, like when her mom comes out the door, and it cuts to that really flash pan of her in the tree.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that flash, it's more of a slow zoom to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think we did talk about this.
Yeah,
on
we
the
talked about it
because after we talked about it, Michael Flynn had sent me some like fun facts about Scream, and that was one of them was the differences between the director's cut and how the little things that make it gory. And he's like, if you know this film, you would recognize it right away, the differences.
Yeah. There's also some other. So I think the running time is actually the same though, because what they did is they cut a few little scenes out. So there's a couple little scenes, little minor ones that they've cut out.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm so used to that version, it's kind of jarring to me to have those cut out.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish that they would re-release a one that's got everything. Just put it all in there, Just put it all in there.
Yeah, that would be really cool. So I guess you have a VHS player then.
Yeah.
That would be my thing. So I don't even have VHSs. I do have some VHS horror movies that I've just had, like, God, since I was a kid that I'm just not going to get rid of. But I don't even have a VHS player. And that's why I was like, man, could I even find one? I guess I could, but
oh yeah, you can find
my
a bunch of them
luck
on
that the
eBay
damn
and stuff.
Break and you wouldn't want to get it fixed,
Well, yeah. I mean, they sell a bunch of them on eBay and stuff. You can't buy any new, right? Because they stopped producing years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find them on there, little places and thrift stores and whatnot. But yeah, you can always find a few.
Yeah, there's like VHS collectors are like fucking serious, right? And I'm like, I'm kind of like you. I'm like, the quality's not great.
No, and the whole Be Kind Rewind thing. You're sitting there after this one. I was like, God, I just want this to be over, man. I just want to push stop. There's not very much advantages to VHS other than nostalgia. That's it.
That's what I was thinking. That's it.
And there are a few movies that never got past VHS. Like that was it for them. They never went to digital or DVDs or anything. So. There are a few like that, but yeah, for the most part, not worth it. Not worth it, really.
Yeah, I hear you.
So the first Omen, I think that one is come out to theaters, coming out soon. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about it. People are saying it's really, really good.
Yeah. So, and we'll get to my list in a little bit. So I haven't watched the original Omen since I was a little kid, like in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So I did a rewatch of it. And a few little things, but I was pretty impressed actually by the original. Was it 1974, I believe? Mm-hmm. But I was like, damn, this is really, really good. All the rest of them, the 2006, I'd seen that, and there's Damien, I'd seen that, and there's an Omen with it's not a little boy, it's a little girl. I can't remember which one that is. I've seen that one a million times, but the original's by far the best, by far.
Oh yeah. Well, they're saying this is just an amazing movie, so it's getting me kind of excited to watch it. And I really was having low expectations of this movie. I kind of thought it was going to be like that prequel to Pet Sematary, like something like that, just more of a cash cow. Yeah. With it going to theaters, maybe telling, but I guess it's really good. So yeah, might be one to have to check out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. That's why I was like, let me go and watch like the original, because I do want to see it, because that's the same thing. I've heard the exact same thing, that it's pretty good. So
yeah.
I want to go see in theaters.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went on a little mini vacation here last week, and we went to Asheville, North Carolina. There's a place over there called Orbit DVD. You ever heard of Orbit DVD?
I don't think so.
I've actually bought stuff from them before, and because they have an online store, and they've shipped me stuff before. I went over there and checked it out. I mean, it's a pretty decent shop. They're a little pricey. I mean, they got the good stuff though. They got all the Arrow releases and all the Vinegar Syndrome releases, and like, what I mean? All those boutique labels are there. But but there's some decent little deals that they'll have, like used stuff and everything. So not as good as the one in Knoxville probably, but that went belly up.
That's
right?
no longer here. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm like, damn it, I finally found about this cool movie store. And like, it's no longer in existence. Damn. Yeah. Well, it's still there. I believe it's all online now. But there's just something about actually physically going into like a movie store.
Right.
It's such a rare thing these days.
Yeah. Well, this one, they've got quite a bit of stuff in there. So it was nice to see all that. I did visit some of the chain stores while I was there too. I went to a couple Walmarts and a Target, and I'll tell you, one of the Walmarts had like a 4-foot section of movies, and that's it. That is it in the whole store.
Oh.
And yeah, and same thing with the Target. 4-foot section, new releases, that's it. And now the other one was actually different. The other one actually had a pretty good aisle section, and a $5 bin. But I'm like, they're saying that they're not going to be going away with, or they haven't announced that they're stopping with the DVD and stuff. But I don't know, because it's definitely getting less and less. The thing about this is people say, oh, it don't matter if Best Buy doesn't have them anymore. But what they don't understand is it's competition. Mm-hmm. It's the one that's going to drive down the sales of the other people. Because I don't know how many times that Best Buy will have a sale on some movies, and then Amazon or Walmart will have to price match it.
Mm-hmm.
But if there are no stores to have sales, then you don't have to have any kind of sales of your own. You get to be the monopoly and just do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I never thought of it that way. And something else, you talking about this. Do you know how many times I went into like a Dollar Tree and bought horror movies? A bunch. And I've gotten some really good ones. I can't remember the last time I even found a movie in Dollar Tree.
I think they've stopped it. Well, I don't know if they stopped it, but yeah, there for like about a good 4 year span. They had all kinds of
I'm
stuff
saying
coming
Dollar
out there.
Tree, but I actually think it's Dollar General. Dollar General, I think.
Dollar General still has movies, but they've always been overpriced.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like you'll find a gym every now and then, but I usually don't even check out their section because
Okay. Maybe that's not what I'm thinking about because I'm thinking of like literally paying like $1 for like good horror movies. It's crazy.
That is Dollar Tree, and Dollar Tree used to have some. I used to like go to every Dollar Tree because you would find some really good ones. Like I found a brand new Return of the Living Dead and Chucky and all these there for $1.
Yeah, I've gotten some really good ones for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's dwindled down. It may come back. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't think they're doing it that much anymore. On the way back home, we stopped at Pigeon Forge and we went to a little place called the House of Wax, and that was pretty fun because they have their own little horror section in there.
So I think So I think I've been there. It's like the King Kong on top of the building.
It is, yes.
Yeah, okay. I have been there. I went there the first year it opened. This was, God, I think it was like 2013 or something.
Yeah, they had all the big ones. They had, Jason. I don't know about Freddy. They had Jason. They had Scream, and they had Michael Myers and American Psycho and Dracula and Frankenstein. Yeah, all these different ones. Yeah,
so they cool. Definitely added some then. But yeah, I do remember that. That's pretty cool. Really cool.
Yeah. They had a couple other attractions there too. One was called Outbreak, Dread the Undead. It was kind of a zombie haunted house thing. It was pretty cool. I went in, and I mean, it wasn't like scary or anything, but it had really good designs and stuff for like an apocalyptic scene of straight out of like a Resident Evil movie or something.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Did your little ones go in there? Like, how are they in like the horror section?
No. My youngest is like, yeah, I'm gonna go with you, and then by the time I get there, she's like, nah.
Did you go in there? Did you go through by yourself?
I went through it by myself. Yeah.
Bummer.
But we did do like a 3D simulation thing. It was like a game. It was like I chose the carnival one, the one with the clowns. Oh, and that one was pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty fun.
That's
stuff.
Awesome.
So we're halfway to Halloween. Pretty close. Getting pretty close to halfway to Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, guess what? I have some news.
What's that?
I have some news. Oh my God. I can't believe I didn't even mention this yet. So, I've been in this contest for Circus of the Dead Part 2.
Yes. Circus of the Dead.
Oh my gosh. If you have not heard, I actually made 4th place. So I get to be killed by the OG Noodle Dome.
That's very cool.
I just want to scream to the top of my lungs right now.
Yeah, that is very awesome. That's going to be a really good experience, right?
Holy shit. I could not believe it. They I know the last like 3 or 4 minutes was completely insane. So obviously you can't vote for yourself, and you can only do so many votes at one time. So I just, based off of what happened in the semifinals, I had several people. I was like, look, 5 minutes till I need everybody go and do these votes for me at last minute. Well, apparently everybody else had the same damn plan, because the last like few minutes I was watching everybody's like a roller coaster, and I dropped from 4th place to 7th place, and I was like, and so I wouldn't have been killed by a clown, but they did an audit and everything, and as part of it's the director's pick as well. So I ended up in 4th place, and I am so grateful and so excited.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So I saw on April the 1st, there was a post by Circus of the Dead 2 on social media that said, we have a new clown, and it's Nicolas Cage.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but I was like, April the 1st. I was like,
right.
I was like, is this an April Fool's joke? Or is it? But they never said it was a joke. So I'm like, still sitting here kind of wondering.
Yeah. I would wait on that one.
You think it's a joke?
I don't. I mean, Cage has been known to do a lot of crazy roles, but
Yeah,
I don't know. That would be interesting though.
that'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool. But I'm so excited. I just can't even get. I just words can't even describe how damn excited I am about this. I'm like, I've always been such a fan of Bloody Bill and Circus of the Dead, and I have this passion for horror movies and clowns. It's like the perfect thing for me. So yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. They're supposed to email out all the, the info on the filming, but they've already started filming. So I did see that.
Oh, that's cool. So it won't be long then, probably.
Yeah, it won't be long. So yay. Oh my God.
Right. Very cool. Very cool.
And everyone that voted for me and shared my post, and, I had a lot of ambassadors out there, and I'm so grateful, and thank you so much. I appreciate everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, going back to Scream real quick, it's always interesting, I find, when life imitates art,
Yeah.
It's always kind of strange. So I saw this story that happened not too long ago, about a week ago, and it's Pennsylvania man in Scream costume accused of killing neighbor with a chainsaw and a knife.
Is that for real?
No, it's for real. It's absolutely for real. Yeah, a chainsaw wielding man in a Scream costume was accused of killing his next door neighbor. So apparently, he gave this guy life-sustaining injuries and took off. But there was cameras that saw him leaving in the costume, and I'm obviously there with some clues to point to him, because obviously you wouldn't know it was him in the costume, but he was in the Scream costume. This is not the first time this has happened, actually.
Wow, really? I've never even heard of that happening. I mean, I believe it though.
No, this is definitely not the first time it's happened. There's a few stories. So there was a Little Caesars worker. He killed an attacker that was wearing a clown mask. That happened in 2008.
So that's like way before the whole, like, the clown thing, where the clowns were appearing and everybody was petrified of clowns,
Yeah. There were some party crashers in Texas at a Halloween celebration that was dressed up as Freddy Krueger, pulled out a shotgun and opened fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy. I hate that too, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you watch horror movies? You're a danger to society." And
yes,
so I hate when people do shit like that, because it makes us horror fans look bad.
Well, right, and the correlation between violence and horror films. I mean, I think if that was the case, me and you would probably have the longest body count of all.
No shit.
In the world. Right. In the world. So obviously this is just a catalyst. This is not really, even though some of these people do blame it on the movies and stuff, which is crazy. So it was wild. But yeah, here's another Scream one in Chicago. It says a husky fellow in a Scream mask robbed two local hotels. Here's one. A man wearing the ghost face mask sported by the killers in Scream murdered a 19-year-old Anthony Seabury in Brooklyn on Halloween 2013. He was shot in the head, and the Ghostface killer escaped, and the murder remains unsolved.
Wow, so there's been a few.
There's been a few, yeah. Here's a Jason Voorhees one. A man wearing a black and white Jason Voorhees hockey mask allegedly shot 3 people in South Jackson, Mississippi.
That is the craziest thing. Like, I was watching this thing on TV one time. I don't even remember what channel I was watching it on. It was cat killers, and he's always about horror movies. That's the only thing. But none of them were Scream. I do remember that. But that's crazy that I've never heard of any of these.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely been instances where the killers blame movies and stuff, say that was their inspiration for doing things. There's this one guy. He was a 17-year-old teenager, but he killed another girl, I think, and he blamed it. He confessed to murders after seeing Rob Zombie's Halloween remake 3 times in 1 week. That's what he said. This one girl, this one girl, Patricia Fraser, she killed her, she killed her daughter, and she blamed it on The Exorcist. She said that after watching The Exorcist, she thought her daughter was possessed by demons.
That sounds like she's a little crazy.
Well, that's what she did go. She didn't go to jail. She did go to an insane asylum. There's Alan Mindy's blaming the Queen of the Damned. Alan Mindy's murdered his 22-year-old friend. He murdered his 21-year-old friend, and then, according to reports, he drank some of his friend's blood and even eat part of their heads because of that movie. Yeah, there's quite a few of these. Here's another scream. Mario Padilla and Samuel Ramirez, teenagers stabbed one of their mothers 45 times in 1998, about 2 years after the movie came out. Was infatuated with the horror movie Scream and used it as inspiration.
That's kind of crazy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
Again,
crazy.
These people. I mean, these people were already. You know what I mean? These people were on the edge. They were just wanting. They're just wanting something to push them over, and I don't think movies do that necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying movies can't glorify it in somebody's head if they're already there. You know what I mean? Like amp it up, I guess. But your average person, and I'm not even thinking that me and you are average, but your average person is going to watch a movie and turn it off, and that's it. You know, they're not going to be inflicted upon themselves to go and mimic what they just saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I'm like, that's a pretty powerful movie if it has that much of an influence on someone. But I'm guessing that they probably had some mental problems before, and the movie just made it just worse. Just put them over the edge.
Exactly. So, at what point do you say, well, these violent movies cause violent behavior, or do we say these people are already violent and the violent movies just make them have an excuse to do it? But that's always been an argument, for the longest time. It's been in the 90s and even before that, I'm sure.
Oh god, yeah. And it's I don't think horror movies will ever go away. And it's kind of like the thing with guns. You're like, ooh, guns kill people. I'm like, no, people kill people. It's not, with a gun, but yeah, I mean, it's shit's gonna happen. I mean, it's unfortunate that we live in a world like this, but
more so with a movie. Like, a movie is so easily accessible to just watch and just put out of your mind, I feel like. But these people that do these things, I mean, they are going to do it probably regardless, whether they watch a movie or not, more than likely. Mm-hmm. But at what point do you as a society say, well, we have to be aware of this? But is it really more of a cultural thing than it is artistic thing? Like, is it more of a thing where, there's something going on in society that are creating these sort of monsters, instead of just them watching a movie and snapping and, going on and doing these things, I mean, I can totally admit that there are people that are super susceptible to things, I mean, look, I look at cults and religions and all this stuff, and I look at them and I go, why did you follow along with this sort of stuff? But they do it, right?
They do. It's like they're being brainwashed, but they don't even realize they're being brainwashed.
Right.
And from an outsider, you're like, how could they not know? But just like, I guess the manipulation and it's they do. People get brainwashed really easily.
Some people do, and I think we're all influenced in our own different ways of different things. But to that degree, I think it takes a special kind of person almost to really like get totally blinded about a lot of things. And so am I to say that a movie couldn't make people do these things? I can't really say that necessarily, but do I think that most people would? No, I don't think that. Again, if the things that me and you have watched,
Oh my
Well,
God.
pretty bad. Pretty bad stuff.
Yeah.
So, it definitely could have gone a worse way if we were so easily susceptible, I guess. But I just think it's a movie, and for me, it's entertainment value.
Hmm.
And I mean, I don't have the answer really for that because it's like, can I say we should stop making horror movies? I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's the thing. I mean, how do you know who these people are? It's not like they're wearing a name tag.
Hmm.
But it is pretty crazy that it happens, and but that does fuel the fire of people that hate horror movies and that really are against it. I feel like it maybe has calmed down a little bit more since the 90s, but I could be wrong. But I'm sure there's still those groups out there that are like, horror movies are the devil. They're the devil.
I remember working at a convention, not a convention. It was more like a little market, Halloween market. We had a booth there, and this I was talking about horror movies. This lady comes up and she's looking at her stuff, and I was like, "Oh, do you like horror movies?" And she's like, "No, I don't. I just don't watch it because it just releases all that negative energy." And I was like, yeah, that's why I don't watch the news. I mean, I'm like, I don't think it releases any negative energy. I guess is how people take it, but it's fake. It's entertainment,
Is it dark? I mean, yeah, I think it can be dark. I mean, it might take a dark sort of person to delve into it completely, maybe like me, but I don't think that it's completely negative. No, I mean, are there depressing ones? Sure, but there's depressing, like you said, the news is way more depressing than the horror movie is. So,
and it's crazy that these filmmakers can, make this story in these movies that has such an effect on people. It's actually really, really good storytelling. Like when I watch you and I watch a lot of extreme movies, and you got the extreme movies that's the shock factor, the puking and the piss and the rape and the torture, and then you have movies that are not necessarily gory, but they're super disturbing. And it's crazy how like just a story can make you feel so uncomfortable. I love that. It's really good storytelling, but I guess for some people it's when it affects them, maybe it affects them differently or triggers something. I'm not sure, but
yeah. I mean, for me, there's not been that many that really has affected me like a lot. I mean, obviously Martyrs did when I first watched it. The Girl Next Door.
Oh, that's probably the one movie I can say that I wanted to like dump bleach on my I was like, oh my God. I think for that movie though is because it was based off of like a real story. That's
right.
Made it even more. Oh my God, crazy.
Yes, exactly. That's when I just went down the rabbit hole of like reading the real story and stuff. And like, holy shit.
I did too. I did the exact same thing. And it's funny you're talking about that because I was looking through my list of movies to watch, and there's one that's the same storyline. It's
called American Crime.
Yes, I have not seen that. It's on my list. Have you seen?
I watched it once. It's definitely way more tame than this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember hating it, but I definitely like the Girl Next Door way better.
Oh, a girl. I didn't know what I was getting into when I watched it. I didn't know anything about the movie. I just knew it was a horror movie and that was based off true events. I had no idea, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's same here. I didn't know anything about it either.
Yep.
And sometimes that's the best way to do it. Just going blind and go, whoa, I did not expect that.
Right. Yeah. No shit. Those are the ones that I call them the what the fuck moments. That one had several. That movie had several what the fuck moments in it.
It did. Yes.
I mean, it wasn't what the fuck. It was what the fuck.
Right. Yeah. For sure. So next topic, goth. Goth and horror. Do you see a correlation
Oh yeah, for sure.
What do you think the correlation is?
It's a good question. Wow, that's a really good question. Um, the only thing I can cut, and this is just not even really thinking about, just off the top of my head. I know a lot of horror fans. It's we're almost like putting the spot. A lot of us, me too, that I was very different. When I was
Mhm.
younger, and I was kind of nerdy, a little bit of an
Mhm.
outcast, and I know a lot of people that I know that are super gothic. It's their way of expressing themselves because they're different and they
Mhm.
fit in with people they feel like they can fit in. I really don't know. That's all I got for you on that one.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Well, it just depends on what I guess subculture of goth you're talking about, really, because there's different,
Yeah,
sort
you're
of.
right.
There's
Yeah.
different ones with that too. Interestingly enough, many many moons ago, when I lived in Nashville the first time, I actually dated a girl who was a goth in the goth scene down there,
Hmm.
and it was kind of funny because she actually liked horror movies and we watched horror movies a lot together. But most of her friends in the goth scene did not like horror movies.
Oh,
Did
really?
not, yeah, did not like it. Found them too passe. Just we're expected to. It's kind of like that South Park episode of no, we're nonconformists. Nonconform-" Yeah, they were just like, nah, we don't like horror movies, which was kind of surprising, honestly, a little bit to me. But it's not every. That's generalizing, but that's just one section there. But yeah, it was interesting. But obviously, it is intertwined with the horror. I mean, it used to be you would see like one or two goth girls in a horror movie. Like I remember one in Urban Legend. You'd see like one or two, but it's not usually the main. But sometimes it's the main um, premise of the movie, like that movie Goth and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a strong correlation because of uh, the sort of things that they're into. Even if some of them don't like the horror movies, a lot of the other stuff that they're into, a
Hmm.
lot of people that like horror movies are into that sort of stuff too. Like, even like darker writing, like Poe and Baudelaire and stuff like that. Like those kind of things usually are what are drawn to maybe a goth. Like even from like Jonan Vasquez. Do you know who that is?
No.
Well, he did this thing called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and he did Squee, but he did that cartoon called Invader Zim.
Oh, I know what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of stuff, and he was kind of like the goth stuff, but yeah, I mean, I think that there's a correlation, but again, it just depends on what sect you're in. I think.
It's funny. I'm still laughing that we're like, oh, we don't like why we're supposed to like horror movies. And that's so true. That is so true. I never thought about it. So stereotypical. For me, my job that pays my bills is I'm an executive in property management, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are like, I look at you and like I would never think that you would like have a horror podcast. I'm like, wow, because I'm blonde and I'm not gothic looking. Is that why? you know.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
always say I'm goth on the inside. I don't dress it necessarily. I mean, I've done it a few times way back in the day when I played in band, but I wouldn't say I dress it. I mean, I wear horror t-shirts and stuff, but I don't dress it on the norm. I wouldn't say, but yeah, I'm goth on the inside.
that's pretty smart, actually. That's pretty good. I might have to use that. I'm goth on the inside. That's right. It
Yeah,
sounds so much cooler too.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. You gotta watch that South Park one where the goths, and they're flipping their hair. You know, nonconformist. I think that's what it is. Yeah. All right, so that's all I got for you. You want to get to the watches?
Yeah, actually, I want to tell you about one thing really
Okay.
quick.
All right.
So Michael Flynn told me about this thing coming up in September. It's in, I can't remember what town it's in, but it's in Tennessee,
Okay.
where it's kind of for horror fans, but it's called Camp Nightmare Part 2, where you go and camp and you're actually haunted by Jason Voorhees.
Oh, I've heard of these. Yeah, I've heard of these.
Have you heard of it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
totally signed up for that already.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, but here, this is me. This is me. When he was telling me about it, I was like, so I don't really like to camp. Like, I don't understand why everybody want to sleep in a sleeping bag when you could sleep in a bed. He goes, oh no, girl, they got cabin options. I'm like, all right, sign me up. Yeah, so I don't know. I thought it'd be kind of fun,
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
And which weird because I don't like haunts. I don't like haunted houses. It's not really my thing. If I go to a haunted house, it's more for I like to look at the scenes and the costumes, and I don't really go there to get scared. It's not really my thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's coming up in September, so we'll stay tuned.
If you like wakes you up in the middle of the night or something, that'd be scary, right?
Yeah, that would be scary. Yeah, so I don't really know what to expect. I just thought it'd be fun for the experience. Why not?
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool.
Bucket list type of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But okay, well that's all I got for you there. You want to talk about our movies we've been watching?
Sure. What have you been watching?
Well, my list is really short, so I
Okay.
won't go. But I already told you about The Omen, which loved it, really, really good. I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. If you're going to go watch the one that just came out, definitely watch the original first, I would think.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's definitely a great movie, and creepy in its own way, and kind of like The Exorcist, riddled with supposed things behind the scenes that happened that were supernatural or whatever. But yeah, it's a really good movie. The sequels are okay. I never loved any of the sequels, to be honest. I don't think any of them are fantastic.
Oh, yeah. No, they're terrible. So I honestly, this is really bad. I didn't have high expectations going into the original. I hadn't seen it since I was pretty small, so I don't remember a lot about it. But I just based off of, the spinoffs of it. I think there's one called Damien, I think.
Yeah, there was even a show called Damien that lasted one season.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I watched maybe an episode. I wasn't really a fan.
Oh, okay. I believe it. I believe it because the rest of them are kind of garbage. So, but the first one's pretty good. And what's crazy is that I don't think the locations they filmed at were really, really amazing, but there's not a lot of practical effects. There's a few. There was a good a head decapitation scene that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I love that, but there's not a lot of like gore, and it's more like kind of psychological, I feel like.
Yeah, it's very akin to Rosemary's Baby in its own way. I mean, it's on its own, but it's right in that vein there,
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, another movie I watch is it's newer. It's called Amelia's Children. Have you seen that?
Amelia's Children. I don't think I've seen that one. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's 2023. It's so it says Edward searches for a biological family. He finds a villa and reunites with his long lost mother and twin, but they shared a past that holds really dark secrets. Didn't really tell you a whole lot about it. I don't want to say what I was no, because I don't want any spoilers, because I really want you to watch it. It doesn't have very good reviews. It's got like 2.5 stars, but I actually really like the movie. I usually don't like movies like this, but this one I liked and I would recommend it. It's just different. The storyline was a little different, so I would check it out.
And sure. Where'd you watch that one
at? I don't remember where I watched it. I think I got it off a cinema. I think.
Okay.
I think it's where off a cinema. So I did a rewatch of my favorite nightmare movie, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Okay. I hadn't seen it in a long time, and it's my favorite, so I was like, hey, why don't I do a rewatch of it? So, and I love it just as much as I did all the other times I've seen it. It's so fucking good.
It's a good one.
It's by far my favorite.
It's the only one that Wes didn't direct that is good, so that's pretty telling.
So
I mean that's really good. So he didn't direct it.
Yeah.
So he wrote a screenplay for 3, I don't know what if they use. I think maybe they used some parts of it. I don't know, but I know that somebody did come in and do some rewrites and stuff. But so his fingerprints may be on there some, but no, he did not direct that one.
Okay, so I didn't know that, but I do know some fun facts about the movie. If you want me to share.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I love shit like this. So the majority of that movie, the budget went to the special effects.
I can see that.
Yeah, obviously, and the special effects in this movie are just amazing, and I think that actually is one of the reasons that I love this movie so much. The effects are just amazing, and CGI was around back then, but even though CGI was around, they still did, it was all practical effects. There was some stop motion in there too.
Yeah, well, CGI wasn't what it is now. I mean,
Oh yeah,
not that it looks so realistic all the time now, but it definitely was way faker looking back then. So it was wise not to rely on it.
I know, and sometimes, I've talked about this so many times that sometimes I'm like, the CGI looks a little cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
And I just I still to this day just absolutely love practical effects and things you can do.
Well, there's a lot of movies. It looks like you're watching a video game.
You're right. When I say cartoonish, you just nailed it. That's exactly what it looks like as a video game. Wow, that was pretty good. So do you remember when we used to do movie quotes? One of the movie quotes, and I remember because I got it like nailed it. It was "Welcome to prom time, bitch."
Yeah.
So I didn't know that that's not actually scripted. That was Robert Englund just thought it was cool and just rattled it off, and they ended up using it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did not know that. Another cool, fun little trivia about the movie is, I don't know if you remember the girl, the character Taryn. She was the junkie, drug addict.
Sure.
So she was so into her part that she actually stabbed Robert Englund.
Ouch.
It was just not a real knife, but still they said he still got hurt by it.
Yeah.
And in that scene, her head was supposed to explode, but the effects didn't work correctly, so they just moving on. So her head was supposed to explode.
Well, sometimes you got to move on.
Yeah, and I didn't know this, but another thing I did not know, but the Freddy's glove was stolen from the film set and showed up in Evil Dead. I didn't know that. I know.
I do remember a glove in Evil Dead. I didn't know that it was the one that was stolen.
Yeah. I read some trivia about the movie earlier, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that. Also, Patricia Arquette, I love her. I've always loved her as an actress. She really struggled with her lines in the movie, and that was her first full feature film. I did not know that.
Yeah. See, there you go. You get your start in horror.
Yeah, I love it. And she's like she's really big. I love her as an actress. True Romance, that was like one of my all-time favorite movies. But
sure.
But anyways, I just thought I would share just some, fun facts about the movie.
Very cool.
Let's see, what else did I have I watched? I think that's really it, except for our extreme pick. I don't even know if I can even pronounce this.
Hardcore pick of the week. Hardcore.
Yeah.
It's Der Todesking. Der Todesking. I don't know. It's called The Death King.
The Death King. Yes. Translation to the Death King. Yeah.
All right.
So this is a
German.
German film, and this was several little shorts that I believe it was 7, and each one was supposed to represent a different day of the week.
Right.
And so I wasn't a fan of it at all. I thought it was kind of boring.
Okay.
The penis scene looked pretty realistic, though. Thought that was good.
Yeah.
But overall, like I really didn't like it. I just thought it was a little boring for me. A couple of the shorts were okay, but some of them were just flat out just boring. What did you think?
Well, first of all, this was made by the guy who did Necromantic 2 and Shram.
Oh, I did not know that.
He directed all those movies, and all those movies, obviously we really like.
I should have known by the penis scene because Sherlock has that where he puts the nails through his
right
junk. I'm like, oh wow! I should have known. That's crazy. Well, yeah, I love some of his other movies. This one,
yeah. I don't think I disliked it as much as you probably did, but I do feel like it was way inferior compared to those movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think my biggest problem with the movie is that at first I liked it, like how the first one connected to the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, it just loses it, right?
It does lose it. Yes. Yeah, it does.
Like there's no more connections to it. And so really each short is kind of its own little contained sequence of death. But there's really, other than like that middle part where that girl's talking to that kid's running around,
mm-hmm.
I feel like that's where he's trying to really get to the exposition of the movie
mm-hmm.
and say what he wants to say. But overall, it really doesn't resonate that much, because you're not getting anything other than brief glimpses of these people, but it's not enough to make you care about any of them or anything like that. And again, it doesn't like connect in any way whatsoever,
Yeah,
so
maybe that's it. It's a good point. Like a lot of times, if I watch a movie, like I like to get to know a character, but yeah, you can't do this in this movie like at all.
Yeah. I mean, because when it started in the first one, I thought, okay, this is, and then it goes to the second. I'm like, okay, this is kind of not doing in camera, but kind of like Slacker. It's going from one to another,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, well, that might be interesting, but it just didn't pan out that way. And yeah, I mean, some were maybe better than others, but nothing sticks out as like, oh my God, that was one you really got to see. And I really think that maybe it should have been tied together a lot better. But like I said, I didn't hate it, but it's not. I don't think it's a great movie, and I do think that his other work is way better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Now, is this your first watch of this movie?
First watch. Yep.
Okay.
First watch.
Okay. First watch.
Maybe only watch.
I was gonna say maybe watch your last. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look, I sometimes revisit things because I forget them, so maybe that happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go, I can't remember that movie, but so we'll see.
There's been a lot of movies where I'll watch them the first time and be like, I did not like that at all, and then time will go by and I'll do a rewatch and then I'll like it the second go around,
And sometimes that's why I will give movies a second chance, because maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm having a bad day. I'm in a bad mood. There's something going on. Sometimes that happens. That can cloud your vision when it comes to movies sometimes. I mean, so I try to be objective if I can and watch something again, if I can. You can't rewatch everything twice, and there's movies that I'm going to watch a million times. So there's that, you got to make way for those. So, yeah. We'll see, but I'll go back and revisit his other movies before this one for sure.
Yeah, maybe I should get in a good mood and do a rewatch of Black Phone.
There you go. Yeah,
you never know.
I don't think Black Phone is a bad movie. And they're making part 2.
I know, isn't that crazy? I think I just had too high of expectations, and I love Sinister, so
yeah. I mean, it isn't Sinister. I mean, it's not Sinister at all. I mean, but nothing is Sinister. Did you see Sinister Part 2? That movie was terrible.
Yes, it was terrible. Yes. Yeah. No good. No good. Anyways, I told you I had a really, really short list since we worked full moon. I was super swamped and trying to get ready for that. So my list was really short this week, but all good. I bet you have a pretty good list going on over there.
Okay, I got a little bit of a list. So, I was bitching about that the new Crow remake for like the last 2 episodes, if you recall. I'm still bitching about it, but did you know that there was a TV series in the 90s
about the Crow?
The Crow, Stairway to Heaven. Did you ever know that?
I think Tracy told me that. I never watched it, but. Yeah. Was it good? Have you watched it?
So I watched a couple of episodes of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's well, it's not that good. No, I mean, it's one of those like formula TV shows of the '90s. I mean, there's some good stuff, obviously from every decade, but I feel like a lot of stuff really didn't get good until Netflix because Netflix kind of broke the barrier of no rules. And I feel like in a lot of those major networks, they had so much rules that they couldn't really, you know what I mean, expand and like do a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Buffy slipped in a lot of stuff that they probably shouldn't have, or most of them probably couldn't. But stuff like this, it's usually played pretty safe, so it's a little bit boring in ways, I think. But anyway, so bitching about this new remake. I mean, this show is basically a remake of the movie. Again, I didn't watch it all, so I don't know how it all plays out. But the first 2 episodes does play at. I mean, you have Eric Draven and his wife was killed, and you have even the characters, not the same actors, but the same characters from the movie, like the little girl and the cop and everybody in this series. So it only lasted 1 season, but yeah, like that was like really soon after. So I'm sure it probably was met with disgust.
It's really hard for I think it's hard for me to watch a series that's based off of a movie that I enjoy. I was really into Bates Motel. I don't know if you ever watched that or not.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole all the seasons, but yeah, I watched like 2 or 3 of them.
I watched like all of them, and I loved that show. We've talked about it before, because I think you did a rewatch a couple of years ago of the Nightmare on Elm Street. The series, remember the whole series they had?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really like those. I haven't seen those in forever. I almost would love to do a rewatch on those. But yeah,
they're out now. I think when we first talked about it, you couldn't stream it anywhere, but you can stream them now. So
you can stream them now. Okay,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. But yeah, it's really hard. Like The Crow, if I saw a show, I'd be like, they have Child's Play. There's a little show called Chucky. I watched the first season of it, but after that, I was just kind of like,
I mean, I like it pretty decent, but they are going to be going back to movies, I think so.
Yeah,
I think they announced there was a new Chucky movie in the works. So, yeah, but I like that one okay. But yeah, I can see why The Crow probably lasted 1 season. I can see why. I did watch a couple episodes from the old show Tales from the Dark Side. You remember that show?
Oh yeah, I love Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah, that was just one of those shows that, I mean, I was pretty young when I watched it. It kind of creeped me out. The narrator, he's just got a creepy voice, and I don't know. I really like it.
It's like Tales from the Crypt. I still to this day love Tales from the Crypt, and it was on forever on HBO, and it was like always what I look forward to, like on the weekend night. And there was a lot of like big name actors. I ended up buying the first few seasons, and I'm like, like Demi Moore, and like there's a lot of big name actors that make appearances in some of their episodes, and their stories are so kind of out there. I love them, absolutely love them. Yeah,
me too, absolutely. Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let me start the rest of the stuff. I did a rewatch of Riding the Bullet. Have you seen this movie?
No, never. Stephen King. I don't think.
Stephen King's Riding the Bullet from 2004.
Nope, never even heard of it. Riding the Bullet.
Riding the Bullet, directed by Mick Garris. When a man finds out his mother is dying and tries to hitchhike his way to the hospital, he is picked up by a stranger with a deadly secret. It's a pretty good movie. I like it okay. If you ever seen any Mick Garris's directed movies of Stephen King, I mean, it has that sort of TV feel, I feel like, a little bit, but it's got David Arquette in it, and Jonathan Jackson. He was that guy that was in that Nashville show.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm thinking like Dawson's Creek.
No, not Joshua. Not Joshua Jackson.
Not Joshua Jackson. Okay.
Jonathan Jackson.
Oh, okay. I don't know Jonathan Jackson. Okay.
If you watch Nashville, you would recognize his face.
I did not watch no Nashville. I'm like, I live in the damn city. I don't want to watch a show about it. He gives me shit about it all the time because that's like his big thing. He had a pretty decent role in the show Nashville. He's like, because of people like you is why it's not on the air anymore. And I'm like, bullshit. It's not my thing.
No, I think the reason it's not on the air is because the lead left the show before, and then they tried to go on without her. But Connie,
you know that? That's funny.
I watched all of them. I did.
Oh, you did?
I was living in Chicago at the time, and I think I had a little homesick, and so I was, I was like, yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
So I guess there was a Deacon. There's a character Deacon, and Deacon had a band. So in that band, the band was the Rebel Kings. Do you remember the Rebel Kings?
I mean, I remember they had a band. I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Okay, so his band was the Rebel Kings, and Tracy was one of the members of the band.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw all those, and there were some other people that I worked with that were extras and little things in there too. So.
Oh yeah, I know so many people that was in that show, and it's funny. Like when we watch movies, we're always like, look at all those extras, because look at all those extras, because an extra in a big show or a big feature film is like kind of a big deal. Even if you're an extra, they should get credit too.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
All right, up next is a little movie called Dark Feed. Came out in 2013.
Dark Feed. Think of it. Yeah, I love listening to your list because you always come up with movies like I've never even heard of.
Yeah, this is a little indie film. Kind of a little indie film reminiscent of that remake of The House on Haunted Hill.
Oh.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
Imagine like that mixed with indie filmmakers.
Oh.
Like it's kind of what a film crew moves into an abandoned psychiatric hospital with a shady past to shoot a low-budget horror movie. It's pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Dark Feed. Dark Feed, right?
Yeah. Pleasantly surprised by it. Up next was a little indie film called Whisper. Came out in 2007. Sinister things begin to happen when kidnappers who are holding a young boy ransom in a remote cabin. I feel like this is probably the plot to Abigail, that new one that's coming out. But something similar to that. But this was a pretty good one, too. I liked it. It's got some people you would know. Sarah Wayne Callies, who was in Walking Dead, and Michael Rooker, who was also in Walking Dead and all kinds of other stuff that you probably remember. And some other people that you would know. It was a pretty good movie. I liked it. Pretty decent one.
Okay.
Up next.
Okay, and that's called just Whisper?
Just Whisper.
Okay.
Yep. Whisper. Up next was a rewatch of all the Mimic films. Now, you're not a big sci-fi horror nut, so I don't know if you've seen these or not. Mimic? You seen that one?
I know what it is, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah, maybe not for you, but the first one's really good, actually. It's directed by Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, it's directed by him, and so it's pretty good. It's pretty well made. The other two, take them or leave them. I guess leave them. Up next was a little horror documentary called The Horror We Make.
The Horror We Make? Was it good?
Yeah,
horror documentaries are funny. Yeah, I either really like them.
There's really not many that I don't like. I mean, to be honest, I can't think of one that I'm like, that sucks. I mean, I always enjoy them.
Where it's just boring. Some of them are just boring. Or I mean,
some of them can be boring.
Horror, at least have a good topic or something, It's probably my ADHD.
I mean, this one,
that's what it is. Seriously, totally.
Yeah. Well, this one's low budget. This one's a really low budget one, and it doesn't have like any really big stars. I mean, it has Reggie Bannister from Phantasm in there, and a few others and stuff like that. But a lot of them aren't huge ones. But it's good to kind of get their perspective on some things too. Some of the lower budget filmmakers and directors and stuff. So I mean, I liked it okay. But one of the directors on there was the guy who directed Hell's Highway, which you watched.
Kidding. No kidding. With Phoebe Dollar.
Which you watched recently. And I did a rewatch because I found the DVD at Orbit. And I picked it up.
Oh, wow. That was a good find.
Yeah. So now I have that one in Gothic. And Goth. Both of those Phoebe Dollar movies, and so this one is better than Goth, but story-wise, I just like the aesthetics of Goth better. But this one actually is a pretty dang good, well-made indie horror film, I think. I think it's
Oh,
better.
yeah, 100%. It's this that if you could take and combine the two together.
Right. Next was a new documentary, The Exorcist Untold. I've watched many documentaries on The Exorcist, and I try to watch as many as I can, because I love them. But I didn't learn too whole much about the movie that I didn't already know. I did learn one thing though. I didn't know this. Did you know that the guy who wrote the book, Blatty? So he wrote the book, The Exorcist, right? And it came out, and it wasn't really selling. Like it was like pretty much a dud. And like he said, he was like going to places doing signings, and they asked him not to sign the books so that they could return them.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
That is crazy, right? And
have you read the book?
I have not. But anyway, so he went and he was doing like appearances and stuff. And I guess there was this television show. I don't know if he was booked to ever be on there, or maybe they called him up because I guess the guy, one of the guys from Jaws, he was drunk and couldn't come on, couldn't perform. And they're like, do you want his slot? And so he rushed over there and took his slot, and that made the book a bestseller.
Wow, that is crazy. That is so crazy.
So that, if it wasn't for that appearance, who knows what have even happened with this movie, book, anything like this.
So you learn this off of this documentary that you just watched.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's kind of, I love I love documentaries about horror movies, like me going and looking up just some fun trivia about Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. I love that. Another reason I like physically buying actual real copies of movies, because you have the bonus features, and sometimes you can see a lot of fun trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the Exorcist documentaries, which one do you think is probably the best, the most information?
It's probably the one that is just freaking talking, or freaking just describes everything. That one really, you can really get in the psyche of him and learn a lot of stuff about it. I think that one was really good. That one came out not too long ago. Yeah,
do you remember what it was called?
It's called A Leap of Faith.
That's right.
I want to say that's what it's called, but let me look that up and make sure.
That is what it's called, and I'll tell you why it's called. I know it's called that because when we were talking about on the podcast, there's a movie about with Steve Martin in it called Leap of Faith, and I was like, Leap of Faith? Oh, but I was like, oh, you're talking about documentary. Yeah, that's what it's called, right?
Yes, it's called Leap of Faith, William Friedkin on The Exorcist.
Okay. All right,
yeah,
so I'll check that out then.
Yeah, that one's really cool. Up next was another rewatch. This one was The New York Ripper. Have you seen this one?
No.
From 1982?
No, I don't even know if I've heard of it. The New York Ripper.
This is an Italian film. Fulci,
oh wait, yes, I have. I've seen this. I had to look it up.
Okay, so it's the one where the killer talks like Donald Duck.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have seen it.
Yeah,
I do. I like this movie. Maybe not as much as some of his others, but I mean, I do like it. Did you like it again?
Yeah,
watch of it.
Yeah, I do like it because it's so bizarre, especially with the Donald Duck voices and stuff. Is just like, what? Like, where did they come up with that stuff? It's crazy.
I love the gore in these Italian movies because it's the gore, like the blood is so vivid and bright. It's obviously fake, but I love the bright colors of it. I don't know why I do. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know about the blood, but I do like the gore.
Yeah, I do. I love the bold, vivid colors. I'm such a gore whore over here. I do. I do. It's like they obviously it's so fake and it's red, dramatic, and everyone knows that blood is not that bright. But I do. I kind of like it.
I don't. I don't think that they probably would have done that if they had a choice, maybe. You know what I mean? I think back in the day they were a little bit more of a stickler about what they would show.
True.
Yeah. Up next was a little Disney movie called Something Wicked This Way Comes. I will say it probably is a rewatch, but I don't think I've seen it since I was a little kid, so didn't remember it that much. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty decent little movie for Disney, because back in the day they'd make some little kind of horror adjacent movies, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not that many of the Disney horror movies, but this is definitely one of them. There are a few that you're like, oh, that's Disney. Right. We talked about one not too long ago. I'm pretty sure we didn't we talk about this not too long ago on the podcast?
Return to Oz?
Yes. Because I don't think I'd seen it. And I think so. I hadn't seen it. We talked about it, and I started looking up like Disney horror movies, but Something Wicked This Way is definitely on there. Wicked This Way comes.
This definitely would not be made today. That's all I can say about it. Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. Up next to the rewatch of Hatchet, of course, you know Hatchet, Adam Green's Hatchet.
Of course.
I guess the only annoying thing, if you would say, about this movie, I guess the worst thing about part one is, you know, that the lead actress didn't come back for the other ones, or maybe, you know, the fact that they should have had the foresight to have Danielle Harris in the first one, but you know that happens sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I wonder why she didn't come back.
I'm not for sure. It could have been scheduling things. Could have been. I don't know. I don't have that story for you. But you know that happens. It happens with the big leagues too. Sometimes I have a movie, and I don't do a lot of sequel stuff, but there is The Last Rendezvous, which is in Killer Shorts, and then The Last Rendezvous 2, which is in Killer Shorts 2. And our lead actors didn't come back for Killer Shorts 2 either.
Oh wow!
I don't know why she didn't. She did read the script. I did try to get her to come back, but I don't think she liked the way her character changed. And I could be wrong. I think that might have been the reason. But like even look at Batman Begins, Katie Holmes was in it, and then in The Dark Knight it was Maggie Gyllenhaal. So you know, I mean, it happens even with the big boys. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. I mean, I could see that though. You know, if I was in a part one and part two is coming out and I read the script and I wasn't really feeling the character or something, I might not want to do it either. Because sometimes they do that. You know, they're talking about making a Deadlines part 2, and if you've seen Deadlines, I am the only female vampire that lives. And that was kind of the point. George actually gave me the choice. He's like, do you want to live? I was like, well, yeah, because I want to be in part 2. But when he wrote the script of part 2, I wasn't even a vampire. I was supposed to be a vampire killer. And I was like, no, I turned it down. I turned it down just because I was like, I'm not really feeling that. So, I mean, those things do happen.
Yeah. All right. Up next was, obviously, I said I watched Scream because I watched it on VHS. I love this movie. It's just a fantastic movie. I hadn't watched it in a while. And I was like, this is so good. It's so well made. Definitely one of the best horror movies ever made. It's just so well done. It's such a love letter to horror. And to be somebody who loves horror so much, I mean, it is just like, it just resonates, the love of horror so much. Mm-hmm. Up next is a little indie film called When the Trash Man Knocks.
When the Trash Man Knocks. I've never heard of it. Sounds interesting.
I just saw the poster and thought, well, I'll give it a shot. It's on Tubi. A agoraphobic woman and her son must face their fears when the killer who traumatized them returns. It was okay. It was a little long. It was, even though it's an hour and 40 minutes, it probably could have been cut down some, I feel like. And it was just okay. I mean, the killer was had like a clown face. It was like a clown mask, really. And I feel like we're seeing more and more of these. We're gonna get even more now that Terrifier is really blown up. You know, these clown masks and face and stuff. So there you go. I mean, some of them may be good, some of them may be bad, but this one wasn't that great. I mean, it was okay. You know. Up next was a rewatch of Wreck. the collection, Wreck 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, and 4.
I saw that you watched those, and I was like, that is so awesome because I haven't seen all of them.
Okay, which ones have you seen?
I've seen the first and second.
Okay, the first one is fantastic.
Oh,
it's just
heck yeah.
It's an amazing movie. I absolutely love it. It's just so good. Just I don't know, just everything works for that movie. Now, here's the thing about that movie, like, so it is kind like they're kind of like zombie-like, right? They're kind of. I mean, it doesn't really say. And then toward the end, spoiler alert, it does show a little bit on the screen, or it shows a little bit on what they find about like demonic possession and stuff, but it doesn't really go into it. So they feel more like kind of zombies, or just like just they turn like really crazy, right? Well, the second one, I like the second one. I mean, it's bloodier, gorier, and stuff. Starts out with the army people, which I don't care for, but eventually gets to where it needs to be. But it really relies heavily on the demonic stuff. You know, they go into and they really go. They got a priest in there, and they really go into the demonic possession stuff in the second one, which is kind of weird because in the third one, Genesis, they actually kind of scrap that whole thing and kind of go back to being sort of zombies like again.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And the third one it's like really close neck and neck with one being my favorite because I love the third one.
I think you love the third one?
Yes, I absolutely love it. I think it's so fun. It is so fun. Now the thing about it's set in the same time. Like it's happening at the exact same time as the first one and second one, because the first and second one go straight together, you know. So it's happening at that same time. But it's about this couple that are getting married, and they're having their big reception and everything, and things go slightly awry. But I love it. It is so fun. A little bit more comedic, I think, but it's so good. It's just really, really good.
Okay.
It does start out with handheld, the found footage stuff, but it doesn't rely completely on it. But
yeah, I see that. So I just kind of looked it up. It says the film begins as a found footage style film, like the original two films, but then it changes to the traditional third person view about 20 minutes in. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it does, and it's really good. I love it. Like the kills are just amazing. If you get a chance, watch that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen Wreck Part 1 and Part 2. It's been a while, so I should put these on my list to do a rewatch.
Oh, definitely. They are definitely worth rewatching. Really short films too.
Yeah,
and the Blu-rays are packed full of special features.
Oh, that's good to know.
Like runtime is way more than the movie. It's like just tons of it. So. All those three. Now the fourth one, I like the fourth one okay, and it comes back with the 1 and 2 again, but it doesn't have really any found footage style, so it's more very traditional kind of stuff. It's pretty good. It's my least of the bunch, I think, but but even at that, it's still a really good movie.
Yeah.
So I just love this. I just love this franchise.
Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 especially, but
yeah.
And now you're saying third is like neck and neck with Part 1.
I mean, for me it is. For me, it's just so fun. It's just so much fun. I loved it. It's just really good. And then, like I said, the fourth one is really good too. It's just not as good, but it's still pretty dang good. So all these movies are definitely worth watching if you haven't seen them. Did you watch the American version, the Quarantine?
Oh yeah. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it at all?
I mean, I'm not going to say I didn't like it at all, but
yeah. I mean, comparatively, I like these better, but I watched it first, so that's probably why I maybe like it okay. Like I liked it okay.
Okay.
I liked it okay. And there's actually a part 2 of that too. Did you know that? Did you see that?
I didn't know there was a part 2. Had no idea.
Yeah, and it's not set like in this. It doesn't follow part 2 of this. It's set on a plane actually, and I remember it was okay too. They're okay movies as well, but these Rex, man, these are really good movies.
Yeah. Comparing like Wreck and Quarantine, I don't think there's a comparison. But you're right. Like Quarantine, it was okay. Wasn't a bad movie, but not nowhere as good as like Wreck. Nowhere near.
Right. And the last thing I watched today was a rewatch of Creepshow 2.
That's a good one. That's a fun one. That's so nostalgia for me.
Yeah. Really good, really good. I like one better, but I really like the stories in this one too. I mean, it's really good. Did you know they made a part 3?
So I think I read that not too long ago, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know there was a part 3."
Oh my god, it's terrible.
Is it terrible?
Oh, it's first of all, it's nobody that was involved with these movies are involved with that. You know, obviously George Romero is dead, but no, terrible. It's God. I don't even know why they did it. It's sacrilegious.
You know, it's part 1 is like one of, you know, I don't know if you know or not, but that's one of my favorite horror films, Creepshow.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
By far my favorite. I love the score. The music is so fucking creepy to me. So every year on Halloween, you know, I go crazy all out. That's just what I do. And trick-or-treaters will come from like everywhere to our house. And I always play the soundtrack to Creepshow. So walking up to my house with all the monsters and I have strobe lights, and we have like the real strobe lights, like stage lights from Tracy's stage shows. So you know, you got the strobes going, and that music just tops it off. I mean, I'm telling you, like when teenagers walk by my house and they're like, "Oh hell no, I'm not going down there." I love it. But the music, the Creepshow music, like just really makes it that much more eerie. That's one of my favorite things about it. And yeah, Creepshow, oh my god, such nostalgia. Every year on Father's Day I always have to watch that. You know, I love the movie Father's Day. It's another one of my favorite horror movies. But Creepshow, oh my god, I love that one. That's one of those ones I could watch like over and over and over again.
Yeah, same here. Great stuff.
You're talking about the second one, you know, the one little short where where they go out there and they're the kids, the teenagers, and they're going out on the lake.
The raft. Yeah.
The raft. Okay, so I remember watching a documentary on it, and they're like, all we used was just black trash bags.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, so funny. Yeah. But it works. You know,
but it works.
The sound effects and everything. Was kind of creeping my daughter out today. So yeah, it works.
She could hear it. Is she in the room? Did she watch those, or she just could hear it?
She doesn't watch them, but she heard it. Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny. She's like, "Weren't you watching in there?" Like, no, it's creepy ass music. The first one, especially, even you wouldn't even think like even Father's Day is super. If you just listen to just the soundtrack. You know, just the score. Oh my god, it's so creepy, so good.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't.
All right, that's all I got for you.
Yeah, pretty good. Episode 50.
So we got next week. We'll watch another hardcore horror pick. We're gonna go for 7 days. Don't see if that will work. If not, we'll pick something else. We got some more guests coming up in future episodes.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we've got
more
some
guests.
Yeah, we've got some pretty good guests lined up. We've got a Nashville indie horror actress, and she does special effects. That's Melanie, I can never say her last name, Contreras, I believe. And then we've got coming up in May, we've got first time that we've had a paranormal team come on here. It's the Phantom.
Spooky.
Yeah, so I thought that's kind of cool. I'm like, hey, that's a little bit different. We always talk about horror movies, so let's talk about some paranormal, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, we're booked up through like June, it seems like. So that's good stuff.
Awesome. Well, from one milestone to the next.
That's right.
All right. Well, until then, you need to stay
hardcore.
Yep, exactly. Just like that.
Just like that.
All right. Well, until next time. Later.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Nothing harder.
Hardcore horror with Mike and Brigitte.
is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.